You're listening to New England Real Estate Journal Radio with Rick Kaplan, New England's source for commercial real estate news. This is New England Real Estate Journal Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
Welcome to the New England Real Estate Journal Radio Show. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Rick. How are we doing?
Great.
Fantastic.
And
you finally get over that sickness?
Finally.
You can hear it in the voice.
Finally, I've
Our listeners will be so happy.
Yeah. And we have in the studio with us is Kourtney, I'm going to try this last name, Mierzejewski?
Mierzejewski.
Okay. That was close.
Very good attempt.
And Kourtney, I'm just going to call you Kourtney right now,
sure.
is the president of the National Association of Women in Construction, and this is Women in Construction Week.
Correct.
So it's a big celebration going on for the whole week. You know, so what are any big plans for the women in construction?
So the Boston and Greater Worcester chapters are doing a build day with Habitat for Humanity this weekend in Worcester.
Oh, fantastic.
We're very excited about. There's still availability. If anyone is interested, they can reach out to me or go to the NAWIC Boston or the Greater Worcester websites. And it should be a great turnout. We have asked the governor's office to issue a proclamation recognizing that this week is Women in Construction Week in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. And the Lieutenant Governor, Karen Polito, is actually presenting the proclamation live at noon.
Oh, fantastic. So nice. There is a lot of excitement going on with the Women in Construction Week. That's great. But, you know, I want to find out from Eric, what's your week like?
My week is, or the week that just passed, I will be at NESE, the Building Energy Conference on Thursday. I get my massage on Thursday, which is a big deal. You know, my monthly massage.
Oh, wow.
You know, hey,
everyone must be so happy to hear that.
Special someone special, which is me. So, and then that following week, we have a bunch of stuff coming up. We have, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I know next Thursday I'm going to IREM up in Stoneham, Mass. for the real estate management group. We're having a networking event for them. That should be a lot of fun. And I think that's it. I know the end of April is where we really start to pick up with all of our help conference.
Well, we'll be at the Seaport Hotel at the 13th and the 14th of April doing our show for the help conference. Mm-hmm. We also will have our event in Portsmouth, New Hampshire at the Portsmouth Events facility at the Residence Hotel, and that is on April 23rd.
That'd be cool. It would be tough if it was January.
Yeah, I know. I'm still getting used to all these changes.
So April 23rd, we'll be in Portsmouth celebrating the Cocktails and Conversations, the Journal's second
and we
annual.
also will be in June. We're going to be at the Hartford Business Journal Expo. Mm-hmm. We'll be doing our show there. We got a couple of other.
We do. I know.
Be
also,
all over the place.
March 19th, if anyone hasn't signed up yet, we're about to tour the Anheuser-Busch Brewery up in
Oh, you're
New
not going to
Hampshire.
give that one up.
No. Well, I go to all the breweries for the tours for work. It's a great deal.
Right.
So go to iremboston.org, and you can sign up and take that tour. It's definitely one of the biggest turnouts for property managers and affiliates. So,
and you can see Eric at any of those Anheuser-Busch tours or any of those beer
or the
tours.
Harpoon Brewery that we do in October.
There's a big vat of beer.
Stella.
And he's got a straw.
I do.
They put him on a ladder, and he's just drinking.
But that's after all my networking is done, you know.
Yeah.
I don't tend to go too wild until all work is done. My mom taught me that at a young age.
Oh, that's very nice, Eric.
You're welcome.
Very
Shout
nice.
out to my mom.
Yes. Shout out to everyone's mom, okay?
Okay.
Well, we don't want to leave anyone out.
Well, I wanted it to be special for my mom, but thanks for ruining that, Rick. But, yeah, I know the Women in Construction Week is a really big deal. I'm always on Twitter. I see it all over the place. How did NAWIC start? That's my question. And was it something recent?
No. NAWIC has been around for a very long time, and our mission is to advance the success of women in the construction industry. Mm-hmm. There are chapters all throughout the United States. I am the president of the Boston chapter, which has been around for 50 years and is one of the, not founding chapters, but one of the more original chapters. And there are actually international chapters as well, Australia, Guam, which is really exciting.
That is cool. Guam, huh?
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
you know, we're going to get
into
that a lot more
Guam is.
in the next segments.
Right.
Because there's quite a bit that I don't think there's enough promotion on women in construction, or actually women in real estate in general. It's
I agree.
You know, there are some groups that are starting up now, or that might, you know, when I say now, you know, maybe in the last 10, 15 years, which, you know, they're just starting to get promoted more and more.
I think, I think the grassroots, that's where it really starts. You know, Legos is now, you know, doing both sides, and there's gender equality in that sense, so that, you know, young girls can play with Legos and don't feel different than when, oh, that's a boy's toy type thing. And I think that's a huge step forward in the future. In the next 15, 20 years, you'll see that. Plus, I think the acceptance. I mean, when you hear about commercial real estate or construction, you always hear what term? Boys Club.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that you have to beat down on that brand itself, and then the longer that takes.
It's always more so in construction, I think. Because in construction, you really never think of women as part of that.
Well, I think that's
traditionally,
right.
Yeah, the stereotype is male.
Right.
And that's a tough thing to come over, is beating that stereotype that's been ingrained in people for so long, you know?
Absolutely, especially in the field. So we're seeing more and more women in the office, but there's a huge push right now to get more women in the trades, in the field, working with the tools.
Nice.
Well, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Kourtney about women in construction, and also the National Association Women in Construction Week.
Perfect.
But right now, we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
The next level in commercial real estate. This is New England Real Estate Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
Commercial real estate can be a risky endeavor if you don't have all the information you need to make an educated decision. Why spend time digging for data when CompStack provides investors, lenders, and landlords accurate lease comps for office, industrial, and retail properties, starting rents, concessions, and more in just a few clicks? The world's largest investors and lenders use CompStack to benchmark their properties and underwrite their deals. Shouldn't you? CompStack. Better data, better deals. Visit getleasecomps.com today.
Rick Kaplan on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson, and we have in the studio with us is Kourtney, and I'll let you say that.
Mierzejewski. Previously Thomas.
See, and I wanted it to be Thomas, but you changed it on me. And Kourtney is the president of the National Association of Women in Construction, and you're also a...
Boston chapter.
Oh, the Boston chapter, I'm sorry. And you're also the leader of the estimating team for J.C. Cannistraro.
Correct. Yep, I'm the estimating manager.
The estimating manager. And so... I know we talked a little bit about what the National Association for Women in Construction, but why don't we go into a little more about that and how long ago it started? Well, I know you said 50 years in the Boston market.
Right.
But how long has it been growing, you know, throughout the whole country? Well, actually, it's international now, you know?
It seems like you're answering your own questions, Rick. I'll take this one. How did you get involved with NAWIC?
Actually, I got involved while I was still in college. I have been with Cannistraro since I was a co-op, and a woman named Barbara Connolly, who is still active in the Boston industry. She is the MEP estimator at Bond Brothers doing construction, and she said, Kourtney, you have to go with me to this. And I started attending events. I've been in NAWIC for 7, almost 8 years now, and then this is my second term as the president. But I just getting involved while I was still in college, I think, was fantastic. I was scared out of my mind to do it. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to these networking events, and what am I going to offer, these women who are already in the industry? But just learning how the industry works, meeting people, learning how to market yourself, and just have small talk about what you're doing on a daily basis is really important.
So are you going to pay it forward? Are you going
Absolutely.
to find someone that's like a mentorship? Is that how it kind of works? Do you guys have mentors and mentees?
Absolutely. I think all members in the chapter and all members on the board, and really I think the women in the industry in general, try to help out the other women as much as they can, especially the women who are newer to the industry and coming up. And the more that you can connect with them and share your path, everyone's path is going to be different, but whatever experiences you've had and advice you could provide is incredibly beneficial.
So, Kourtney, what led you to construction? You went to Wentworth, right?
I did.
And
Yep.
what made you go there and choose to go into this field?
My family has always been in construction. My dad is incredibly handy, and I was always helping him with things around the house. He is vice president for Bath Iron Works, which is a General Dynamics company, and they build destroyers in Bath, Maine. That's where I grew up. And so I think I've always been surrounded by it. I initially didn't think there was such a thing as construction management. I didn't understand how the construction industry worked, from being a plumber, working with the tools, to something like construction management where you're overseeing even small pieces of a huge building that could be going up in the city. I didn't understand that process. So I liked designing houses and thinking about renovations with houses and working that piece of it. And I actually worked as a carpenter summers while I was in college. So I decided to pursue architecture. And I got into college and decided that as much as I loved architecture and I'm fascinated by it, probably wasn't for me. I think that I'm good with people and I like to build things, and I applied for construction co-ops rather than design co-ops, and then have stayed that route ever since, and I'm really happy with it.
Now, what about, we talked about this a little on the phone, the millennials and young people getting in. Now, you were saying you weren't really that familiar. You saw your father did some odd jobs and things like that. But do you think that if there was more attention in the public school systems, where pushing more young kids into the trades,
Absolutely,
showing them what it's all about, like you said, you didn't know much about it.
Right.
Do you think that's something that should be going on right now?
Absolutely. I think that it's getting better and that we're making a concerted effort. The industry, everyone that touches the industry, and NAWIC, and I think we're all making the effort to make kids more aware of the opportunities in construction in the AEC field. But the more the better. And you and I had discussed getting it maybe into the curriculum for public schools, and I think that's incredible.
Because I also think that it's women probably know even less than males,
right,
about the construction field as
right,
young.
and what the opportunities are. I think they probably think, I don't want to be up on the structure, or I don't want to be up on the roof, or I don't want to be out there welding, which lots of women do, and it would be great if we could get more into. But because of that, they don't decide to pursue anything in the construction field.
And they're not familiar with what is entailed with that type of a job.
I was going to say, how do you make construction, or even the trades in general, sexy again? Right now, they're not sexy.
Right.
When I'm going to school, I'm thinking technology, they're all superstars. They're on TV everywhere. Doctors, lawyers, that's big money.
Right.
People don't realize that construction is big money.
Right.
In the commercial real estate industry itself. How do you make it sexy to young people again to get interested?
Well, and we joke about that too at Cannistraro, right? How do you make plumbing sexy? Like, there's just how do you try to get millennial women into
exactly
to plumbing? And actually, our plumbing department has a lot of women in it. But it's funny, and it's something that we struggle with. I love construction. Boston is booming right now. So to go around and see all the construction that's happening, I think that's awesome.
Do they do, at JC Cannistraro, do you guys ever do mentor programs maybe for some of your vocational technical schools? Maybe they come out, you guys tour one of your facilities and show them some of the things that you guys have done and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. We try to, and we're involved with a lot of the local organizations have student chapters. So we try to do events with them and get them involved. John Cannistraro works with the Artists for Humanity, and I know that he's worked with them to raise their awareness about the trades and help some of these kids get into careers like that. NAWIC also participates. They do Block Kids events every year, which is teaching grade school kids how to build and just about construction in general. There are events like Construction Career Days, trying to get kids to be more aware. There was one more I wanted to mention that's escaping me.
No worries.
But the ABC,
introduce a girl to engineering day. I think that's brilliant.
That's really cool.
ABC has young professional groups
Right.
that also try to encourage the field.
Right.
You know, I just think that you're when you say it's not sexy, I just think that it's just lost a lot of the interest because people are. Parents are pushing their kids. You got to go to college. You got to become a professional,
Right.
and they don't take the trade as being a professional.
Right.
So you
And
know,
they
kids.
should.
Yeah, and kids are going to school becoming engineers, and
Right.
and some of them go to school for 4 or 5 years and then don't even end up doing that career.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well,
Because,
yeah, they
you know,
don't know
right.
necessarily what they want
Yeah.
when they go.
Some people just great working with their hands too. You know, that's what they
Absolutely.
want. They want to do something like that.
I think some of the biggest things to highlight with construction are the stability, right? Which is tough to say coming out of the recession. But if you have a skilled trade or a skilled, if you're part of a skilled
Right.
trade, if you have that, that's invaluable, right? And you're always going to have that. And you could always do other things, but having that is very specialized. And then also the pay, the wages are decent, right? Construction is...
Well, see, that's another
It's-
thing. I think that people relate the pay grade as being much different as in the trades than it would be if you were an attorney or a doctor.
Well, that's what I
Right.
was saying about the sexiness part of it. I didn't, and that's what I meant when I said sexiness. Well, again, millennials are taught to. We all think we're going to be rich. If you
Right.
asked everybody you know, it's like I'm broke
What's
right
the
now,
goal?
but I'm
Right.
going to be rich at one point. Now, and that's what people think, and so we've kind of instilled that. And secondly, I think we have this notion that people who were in construction, who worked with their hands, worked really hard so that their kids didn't have to. So they push their kids to jobs that are getting an office, get stability, finance, medical, those type of things. And I think all that was kind of lost between the 80s and 90s, where these are great trades. They make great livings. You can afford to be. You don't have to worry about living at home when you're 30. Those
Right.
type of things. But kids don't know that. They think,
And I think you
construction,
have
I'm
more
gonna be
advancement.
doing
Working
14-hour
hard and not-
days,
right, not getting
blowing my
paid for
back
it.
out by the time I'm 30,
Right.
and then I'll be, on
But
disability.
there's more advancement, I think, in faster advancement in the trades right now.
Absolutely.
Than it would be.
There's huge opportunity there.
Exactly. So I think that young people are missing out on that.
Especially when you see that the job market, and they're saying, there's no jobs out there. In fact, if you look at all the trades, they're trying to hire, and they can't fill enough positions.
But I
'cause not enough
also,
people have those.
one
Right.
thing that I hear quite a bit is about people in the trades that are in the unions. And some of them say, well, if I'm in the union for 10 years or better, now I'll get all the good jobs. But right now, they just pick and choose, and they don't want to put that time in waiting to,
That's true.
to grow into the union.
That is true, and I hate to make that stereotype or generalization about the millennials coming in, right? And I don't think that it's true for all of them, but it is. Construction is an old school industry, and it's going to be that way for a long time.
Right.
And I think there is that hardworking mentality where you have to pay your dues and you have to put the time in. And while we need to adjust and adapt to retain them and give them goals and a path to advancement, that is the mentality. Is you got to put your time in.
Yeah, and I agree. But I think that's almost in any industry. I just think
I would think so.
you hear it more for people that are starting out in the construction field, because the unions sort of instill that into the younger members.
Not to defend the millennials, but think about this. Your first 22 years of life, everything is instant gratification. Everything, from communication to schoolwork, everything is, here it is, good, it's done, the grades are up online. That's how fast the world works for them
Right.
growing up.
Right.
Right.
Then all of a sudden they come into the industry, now they're mixed with all the generations, and everything's slow. They're like, what do you mean I have to wait 5 years to get advancement? I should be getting 5 months if I'm better than that person at this job. That's kind of hard for them to get a grasp on, I think, and I think you'll see a huge cultural change in the next 10 years about that.
Right. I would say to them, if you're proving yourself, you're going to get rewarded.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that's obviously the basic is you got to go out and you can't be a legend without being a player first.
Right.
So
I agree. I think that people don't, or younger people don't believe that, though. They believe just because I'm here 3 months, this is what I get.
Right.
Well, again, because your whole life has been that way. You know, if you grow up in a certain environment and all of a sudden you're taking out of that environment, you're not going to be able to correlate because you're still thinking of this environment. You know what I mean? So I think, like I said, you'll see a big cultural change where the instant gratification is kind of killing what the industry needs to be going forward for our country. But that's besides the point. I just wanted to defend my millennial people. Shout out to you millennials.
Absolutely.
Myself.
Yeah.
No, they're
fantastic.
I think that they're a lot more knowledgeable than the baby boomers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they're coming into the job market, the problem is they're impatient.
Yes, that's
they don't want to wait for that. You know, because even if they're a professional, they come out of school and they get a job, they're only there 3 months, and then they're moving on to another job. You know.
Yeah.
You know this.
Is that fair?
Well,
And that's a huge generalization. Like so that's what I said. You don't have to worry about ever stereotyping or generalizations. We do it all the
That's
time.
right.
We're in marketing.
just
We're
to
in
know how
marketing.
it-
That's
yeah.
just how you got to do it in
It's
marketing.
just how it works.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, in order
You
to
know,
market,
it-
you have to generalize. So
right.
we do it all the time. But I would say,
it's fair.
no, you can't. I mean, obviously, everybody's an individual person. So how your parents raised you, what your education was, you know, how big your family was, all those things play an effect on what you're going to be like as a productive citizen after you get out of school. So you can't generalize them all. I just say with the instant gratification, it's hard to tell somebody who's gotten everything right away when they need to know. Now all of a sudden, no, you can't know right now. We'll let you know when when it's time. And it's almost like when you're a kid and it's you'll understand when you're an adult. And then you get to be an adult and you still don't understand.
But
So-
all of that being said, I think that there's a much larger opportunity for women in the construction field overall. You know, because it hasn't been a field that a lot of women have been interested in,
Right.
and it's just starting to become open to women more so and accepted. I think a lot of companies are accepting that women are qualified to do this type of work.
Absolutely. I think you're seeing many more women, particularly in the office positions, across the industry. I think, like I said earlier, we're still trying to push and get more into the trades. And then there's also a really wide array of things that people could be doing or women could be doing in the industry that they don't realize, right? So NAWIC is made up of, we have architects, engineers, designers, construction managers, general, all the way down to the sub-trades. But then we also have lawyers who specialize in construction litigation. We have, sales reps and manufacturers and just there's a huge, huge array of things that touch the construction industry that don't have that traditional working with the tool stereotype.
Right, all the different avenues
Right.
that someone could go
Right.
into.
So I think there's absolutely a place. At Cannistraro, we're actually doing a great job. We have almost 30% women, which is fantastic. But I think a lot of it is just being organized and diligent. I think that you don't see women in construction who are not good at their jobs right now. Right, which is not that anybody should have a job if they're not good at their
Right.
job, but I think that the levels are totally different. I think that currently a woman has to be on her game,
Right, they're shining
to
in their
to
position.
be respected and do well in the construction industry, and there's huge opportunity for more. I think that women are very organized. They can put feelings aside and do what's best in the interest of a project or a situation. And I think there's a huge place for them.
What about ownership? Women ownership. I mean, that's going to
It's
be
on the
a
rise.
huge change when that finally.
Absolutely.
But it's going to be hard in construction with all these companies going back hundreds of years. There's very
Right.
rarely you find new big construction companies being formed. So, how does that get a push?
Right. Well, and I guess it's starting small and building those companies.
Well, I don't know. Corey's telling me our time is running out. We're going to have to go to another
for the segment.
For this segment, we're going to have to go to another break. But before we go to the break, I just want to thank some of our sponsors of the show, which is the city of Hartford, Connecticut, who's been sponsoring our show for quite a while. Marlborough, Mass, Rochester, New Hampshire, CompStack, and Video Doorman. And we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan and Eric Wilson, right here on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
Listen, are you living in a condo or co-op? Do you have difficulty receiving deliveries from UPS, FedEx, or your pharmacy when you're not home? Well, there's a solution. Video Doorman. It's a security system with live on-call operators for condos and co-ops that receives packages when you're out, stores them in a safe package room, and then notifies you about your delivery. They can even handle dry cleaning, pickup, and delivery. But there's more. If you come home late at night and don't feel safe, just press the Video Doorman key fob, and the Video Doorman operator will greet you by name and escort you right up to your floor. He can see you and speak to you and handle any potential problem. And Video Doorman costs only about $1 a day. Call Video Doorman at 888-697-3630 or visit videodoorman.com to receive a free building evaluation. That number again is 888-697-3630. Call now, feel safer, and never miss a delivery again.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson, and we have Kourtney
Mierzejewski. I thought we were going to third time's a charm.
Not for Rick, it isn't. Not for Rick.
I just
7
figured
times
it was so much easier for you to announce it. Because I was going to go back to Thomas. But we were talking about women in construction, and Kourtney is the president of the Boston chapter for the Women's Association.
National
Association for Women in Construction. And we were talking a little bit about some of the sexiness
of the construction industry.
And you had something you wanted to bring up about how that is changing a little bit.
I do. So earlier when we were talking, you had mentioned tech as one of the industries that is attractive to young people. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing a huge change in the construction industry, as I'm sure you're aware, with the development of BIM, building information modeling, and coordination. Mm-hmm. And technology is becoming such a bigger part of construction that I think hopefully that piece will attract more younger people into the industry. And we are absolutely pushing it and using it as a tool. So we have a full staff of about 30 people coordinating in-house, right? And they're drawing in 3D everything before we install it. Mm-hmm. And then you have ancillary programs that are working to run stock lists and push our prefabrication efforts and get smarter about what we do and more efficient. And I think that that is very attractive to people. So 10 years ago when we were going to career fairs, we're putting up the model that we had and letting it fly through, and that attracted so many more younger people over than you would see otherwise.
Here's a question.
Sure.
Tech is sexy because they're very good at branding their job or their work atmosphere. You go in, it's open space, there's ping pong in the corner. It almost seems like no one's working, and what a great job that is. Construction, though, it seems like you're always working. And that's what you're selling. Hey, you're going to be working constantly, hard job. That's going to be a tough competition. Do you guys at NAWIC have like a marketing campaign to show people what a typical day is like in the construction field? And you kind of obviously spice it up and make it seem like something unbelievable to get into.
Right. So, and I would say across the country, we're doing all sorts of different things. The biggest thing that pops into my head when you say that is construction career days, where people are not necessarily shadowing, but they're learning, what is your day like? What are you doing on a daily basis? And what are your responsibilities? And, what are the challenges and the strengths, and learning more about it and trying to fully understand and have a better idea.
I think one of the big pluses of construction or any of the trades is the gratification of seeing the final product.
It is.
And that's I always have that good feeling that I was involved in making that.
Exactly, forever.
Right. So as far as the work ethic, and the work involved in that,
Right. What it takes to get there.
Right. I mean,
work hard, play hard.
Right. After the first project, you see what you accomplished.
Right.
I mean,
Here's a good branding.
Huh?
Do you know why? You know how everything that you cook tastes better?
Well, not
That's
everything
why
I cook.
That's why you want to be in construction.
Yeah.
Because everything you do and you produce, you feel better about. Well, yes, you do. Even your buffalo chicken lasagna, you love it.
I do.
No one else does, but you love it.
I love it. Yeah.
Because you cook it. Exactly.
Right.
But I think you take pride in what you accomplish. So if you drive by the building that you were part of every day into work, you're just more proud going to work.
That's true.
And you hit the nail on the head, and I think there's a huge amount of pride in the construction industry. And for me, that's why I do it. Right?
Yeah.
Driving around and being able to say, okay, we're doing, the plumbing here, the fire protection here. I estimated this one, sold this one. This is this job, this is this job, this is this job. Even if we didn't, as a company, build it, I think the industry has pride for everything the industry does, aside from, the competition.
And that's true. And
different
I know my grandfather was in the trades. He was a mason, and this is, he's been dead for many, many years.
Sorry.
I'm not looking for the sympathy.
Oh.
I'm just trying to bring up that, there's still work throughout the city of Boston that is still his name on it, that you can go see. So
and will be for a long time. With
so
the way
if you're in the
is.
trades, you do have that final product that you have the pride of showing people that I did that, I was involved in that. And your family, from going on to different generations, they'll also be able to give that pride,
Someone was saying to me recently that we're doing work at Boston Medical Center. They have a lot of work going on right now. And we're working on the Menino project, which is an IPD project. And the first phase has been a lot of enabling work and investigative work. And we have people in the field that are trying to nail down existing conditions and influence the design moving forward. But one of our younger members of the team was talking to a man who's now retired from the industry, but he was an apprentice, and as an apprentice installed the piping in the basement of that building or whatever particular area they were working in. And he told him from memory, this valve is here, this thing is over here, this is a couple feet from there, and that's incredible. That
is incredible. To remember that long and to have the precise where everything is.
Well, I guess also if you work on a job for a length of time, you do remember a lot of it. It's the same if you work on a Navy ship or anything like that.
Anything with your hands, it's easier to remember if it goes from your brain through your hands. Whether you're writing something down, it's just transference from your brain to your hands allows you to remember better.
That's true.
I know weird facts like that. I'm a science geek. I live in that world.
He does.
Yeah.
It's true for me.
Yeah. He'll come up with some kind of crazy fact.
But here's my other question. So we didn't really touch upon what you actually do in the industry other than, be the Boston president of NAWIC.
Sure.
At JC Cannistraro, for those who know, is a construction management company. What does an lead estimator do?
So we're a plumbing, HVAC, and fire protection mechanical contractor, large commercial construction mainly, and then I'm the estimating manager. We have centralized estimating for all of our main work, we'll call it. We also have a small projects or special projects division, which a lot of the project managers will handle their own estimating and run the projects, just due to the nature of that type of work. So we do the larger fire protection, plumbing, and HVAC estimating. And I'm currently overseeing about 10 people and all of the bids that go out the door. So, for example, last year we try to price everything, that we can and also that we see benefit in performing the work. And so we priced $1.2 billion worth of work last year, all out of our department, and it was over, I think, 1,200 prices, 1,200 different bids went out the door. Which is pretty incredible. And so we would handle, I personally would work with our coordinator to receive all of the invitations to bid, go through them, decide which projects we're going to go after, and then assign an estimator. The estimators would go through their process, put together the pricing, review it with me and our team, and then put together our proposal, oversee that, and send it out the door, right? And then a project could come back 3, 4, 5 times. A lot of times now we're seeing the projects at an early stage, maybe even schematic documents, where there's no pipe on the drawings, you're just working off of architecturals, and you could see it all the way through to 80 or 100% construction documents when they're ready to buy.
Wow.
So we're pushing to be brought on earlier and earlier, and to work with the design team and the construction manager and influence the design with constructability.
So when you're an estimator, when you're brought in early, do you have like broken up estimates? Like from the beginning, and then the next stage, this is what it'll come to, and then the final stage.
It's difficult. I would say the middle part of it is actually more difficult, because you could be working off of nothing and do a schematic, right, like a conceptual estimate, and there's nothing shown. So you're not doing a takeoff. You're putting numbers to areas and systems and things that you're seeing. And then to go for a set of documents that some is shown before all is shown, that is the most difficult. So a lot of times we'll try to do our own layout and go through and lay out the job and take that off so we have a full estimate as time allows, either at the schematic stage or that 50% stage, to be more accurate than going from a true conceptual estimate to 100% when they've designed it. Because there's just such a curve trying to interpret that middle piece, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And, the other thing that when you're putting together these projects, every job is going to be a little different.
Right.
So, it's not like you have a standard, like this job, it's going to be $100,000 because we use this much pipe. It's the same as every other building.
Right.
So every job is like a new
nuances.
adventure.
Mm-hmm. Which honestly, that if it wasn't, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, so it's not a boring. It's not boring.
Everything's different. Out here, all right? Challenge me.
Exactly. The most challenging, technical, I'm like, oh, that's a new system. I've never seen it done that way before.
Nice.
That's what, you want to see.
What is your, when you estimate these jobs before they go to bids, what's your plus or minus? So do you overestimate to make sure you cover so you don't run over, or do you underestimate to make sure you get the bid? Like how does the estimation actually work toward these bids?
It depends, right, on what you're looking for. So you're trying to have the right number all the time.
Right.
That's the goal. And then, you might be a little bit more conservative or less conservative with your pricing if you are really you really need the project, right, to keep the labor going in the field. Or if it's, something you see beneficial for the company, it's one of those resume projects that you really want to get and you're willing to take it a little bit lower than you might otherwise. So you try to come up with the right number, and then you have your big picture conceptual numbers to make sure that you're in the ballpark and that number feels right, and then you're going to adjust it based on, when are they bringing us on? Are they bringing us on at the last minute, or are they bringing us on with plenty of time to plan, because that's where you're making the money, is by planning and executing properly, and influencing the design. What are the dates that they're issuing everything? What is the the condition of the documents? Who is the team? Is it a great team, or is it a tough team and you've had trouble with them in the past and there's more risk there? So you're kind of...
So there's a lot of gut feeling in this.
There is.
Yeah, and you probably have to know what the competition, have to have an idea where they would come in,
Right? Oh, that's their client. They want to stay there. They're going to really gun for that one. Yeah, there's a lot of feeling and interpretation.
So it's almost like a poker game.
Yeah.
You don't know what my cards are. I don't know what your cards are, but we both are going for the same.
And probably a lot of investigation going on in this whole thing. Right. So it sounds very interesting.
It's a very small industry.
That's a very sexy job.
It is sexy.
Right?
Yeah.
Let those ladies know. That construction part, that's pretty sexy. You know, play poker every day.
You go out there spying on the competition,
Well, and everyone wants to win, right?
Right,
So
that's why.
Every day you're estimating,
Right.
all right, I want to win the job.
Yeah. Exactly. That's
So, but for the most, money possible for the best interest
Bang
of
for
the
the buck.
company. Yeah.
But now, let's get
I'm
back.
also big in cliches.
Well, let's get back to the women in the industry.
Right.
when you're that sounds like you've come quite a ways with that position. Now, where would someone start on something like that?
So my background, I've been with the company over 8 years now. And I got in at a very, very good time. We were talking earlier that there's a gap between the baby boomers who are retiring and the generation right behind them. There's quite a few. And then you have this major gap. And then the average age in our office now is 33, right? So there's this huge gap.
I guess I'm not applying for any jobs.
So
That's real young, too. That's
which
cool.
you would never think in the construction industry. But that's where it's gone, right? There was this huge gap, the need to fill. And all of the people that are, 5 to 10 or 15 years in the industry have incredible experience because they were in the really good times, and then they were in the recession where they had to penny pinch and they had to be on their game, and if they missed anything, they lost money, and you couldn't survive. So there was great experience there. And then now you have baby boomers retiring, and there's leadership opportunities to move into. So I think it's a really good time to get into the industry. And then as far as starting out, I would say you could start in really any piece of the industry. My background, I started as an APM, and then moved up and was able to manage small projects on my own. And still be an assistant on larger projects and learn the business, learn as much as I could without being in the field of the technical side. And then moved into estimating, and the project management experience has helped me, right, in knowing how to identify the problems, and then have, moved up.
Well, I would think like a position that you hold right now. I mean, it sounds like if you're a project manager, throughout your career, you have to know all different aspects of the industry. So it helps when you're estimating, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you know what entails.
More things, right, I've seen, or who to ask, right? Where do I find the question? Who do I ask? Because I'm still only 10 years in. I don't have crazy experience or haven't worked in the field and worked with my hands, so...
And I don't think anyone could really know everything.
Well, Rick.
Well, except for Eric.
Speak for yourself.
Except for Eric.
So you have, our foremen and the people that have the experience and having a good relationship with them and respecting that. And then also the tech is helping, right? If you're learning how to draw a job in coordination, that takes years off of the timeline that you would have had to work in the field to gain that experience.
Right.
So.
I agree. Well, we got to go to a break. Again, I want to thank our sponsors for the show, the City of Hartford, Connecticut, Marlborough, Mass., Rochester, New Hampshire, Comstack, and Video Doorman. And we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan is right here on the Money Matters Radio Network.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson, and we're talking with Kourtney Mierzejewski. I'm going to keep doing that until I get it right.
We'll be here all year, folks.
That's right. This is going to be like a
check
week
back
long.
In 2016. Rick may have it right.
But we were talking with Kourtney about the women in construction, the National Association of Women in Construction. Kourtney is the president of the Boston chapter, and it's been very interesting because. We're hearing all kinds of comments from all the different construction companies about the millennials not having as much interest in the construction field. But there's also the women, the millennial women, also not having as much interest yet.
Right.
So it's all growing.
Absolutely. No,
and the word has to get out.
Yes. Yes, it does.
So we're trying to do that. How if someone is interested and wants to be more involved, how would they be part of the National Association of Women in Construction?
So I would refer them to our websites. The national website is www.nawic.org. And then any of the local chapter websites can be reached through that national website. Ours in Boston is www.nawicboston.org.
Now, if there are schools
simple.
out there that are interested in having some of the students more involved, let's say a high school, would that be something that
Absolutely.
that the association would be interested in?
Absolutely. That would be incredible. I think we would love to get them hooked up with a chapter. And if they didn't reach out to the right chapter, we could move around regionally or nationally to get them hooked up with the right connections. But I think it would be great to get high school students or college students to events and connected with the group for maybe other events.
Because I do know there's a lot of high schools that have what they call career days.
Right.
And they're always looking for people to come in and talk.
Yes, just talk about what they
I think
do.
this was a perfect
Absolutely. Reach out to me. Reach out to NAWIC National through the website.
That's great to know.
Well, I know you have a huge event coming up this weekend out in Worcester for the Habitats for Humanity. Would you touch upon that a little bit,
Sure.
and also if any other event that's coming up that some of these prospective members may want to come and check out and see what it's all about?
Sure. So our event this weekend is a build day for Habitat for Humanity, and it's in Worcester. And we'll be working on a net energy house, which is exciting. And then members and non-members are welcome. The donation ask is $25, and that's just to help fund the materials needed to build. And noon, actually, the Lieutenant Governor, Karen Polito, is coming to issue a proclamation recognizing that this week is Women in Construction Week in Massachusetts. No skills required. Jessica Murphy of Miracle Connell has coordinated it, and she is on the board for Habitat, the Greater Worcester Metro West chapter of Habitat for Humanity.
I have a question. So you're going to be building out there. What about the snow? Does that have any effect?
Yes.
Yes?
We're hoping it's a non-issue.
Okay, I was just wondering. I know that it's tough. I know that the Worcester got drubbed.
Right.
And they didn't break their record. They weren't as close as Boston, but they did get drubbed. But it's supposed to be a beautiful day out this Saturday, 38 degrees and sunny.
Actually, this particular project, we had just switched in the last couple of weeks to this project, which is exciting. The one before that, I don't think it was enclosed yet, but this one maybe, so the weather would be a non-factor.
Nice. And what about lunch? You guys serving lunch?
Lunch is served.
All right. So you got to make sure of those things.
Yeah, well, that's all that really matters.
Well,
then.
no, I was thinking, they're going to go out there. The Lieutenant Governor's going to speak, and also
at noon.
Yeah. So if someone was listening to our show, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to go out there.
Just
do
come.
I bring my own lunch, or do I have to have, will lunch be there?"
And
So
even
it's a good
if
idea.
they're
Good
not
know it.
interested in actually participating in the build, come hang out.
Okay.
Be there, especially around noon. Yeah, meet
Nice.
us. Figure out what
what works, what
what
doesn't.
we're all about. Absolutely.
Okay. And is there any other events coming up outside of the Habitat for Humanity? Maybe a networking event or,
So.
panel or something?
Yeah, so our next event for Boston is on March 26th, Thursday, March 26th. We are doing the 11th annual bowling scholarship fundraiser at Boston Bowling Dorchester.
Awesome.
And that funds our scholarship program.
Big balls, candlepin.
Big balls.
Yeah.
Weak. We're in New
come
England. We
on.
got to go candlepin. That's how we do. We invented it.
It's called
No, I'm just kidding. I know, I'm
anyways.
kidding.
So,
It's called 10-pin. Yeah. See how I don't usually play bowling.
So
10-pin.
the information for that can be found on our website also.
Okay.
It's a great event, tons of fun, and obviously for a good cause.
Right.
And then coming up further, April 14th, we're having Stephanie Sonnabend highlight our event. And she is the co-founder of Women on Boards 2020, which is an initiative to get 20% of women on boards by 2020, which is really exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's a cool goal.
Yeah, so absolutely, and we're hoping for a fantastic event. I'm sure she's going to have a lot of great things to talk about their effort.
So what are some of the forms of recruiting that you have that are bringing some women into the industry?
So I would say social media.
Oh, that's
Token.
a good one.
But additionally, I think going to all of the schools, right? So as part of our scholarship program, I know that Greater Worcester, their scholarship program, they work with Worcester Technical High School, which is a nationally acclaimed high school for preparing high school students to get into the construction industry and other trades. And then we're working in Boston. Our scholarship program is higher ed, and we're working with technical schools most often because we have a focus on non-traditional students and non-traditional industries and topics. And so we work often with Wentworth, with Northeastern, RIT, WPI, trying to get the word out and get students more involved.
So these scholarships are given to high school students going to college or college students going to grad school? Is that what you?
So ours in Boston, they're for college students or high school students going to college.
Right.
Right. So higher ed.
And there's only one per year you guys give out?
We last year we gave out 4.
Oh wow!
So we allot the money for the scholarship between what the chapter can give and what we fundraise for the year, and then our scholarship committee receives all the applications and decides how many of the applicants they want to.
Right. And is this
award.
something you guys give out at an event?
Yes. So we have an award ceremony. June 16th this year will be our event to present the scholarship awards.
Nice.
So I would always refer for
There'll be no
any
snow on the
events-
ground for that, hopefully.
Better not.
It is in June.
So for any events, I would encourage people to check out on our website, our NAWIC Boston website, the events page. We're constantly updating that. So we have one event a month, and then sometimes more. We'll add additional networking events and other community events, depending on what's going on.
And so that's NAWICBoston.org. Is it
Correct.
/events?
Yep.
Is that the page tab? Nice.
Yep.
So check it out, everyone.
Yeah, now I'm sure there's some women that have been in the industry for quite a long time that they might not even be aware of some of these associations for the women in construction. If they wanted to become a mentor, is that something that you look for as well?
Does NAWIC offer a mentor program?
We do. The chapters decide whether or not to do a formal one.
Okay.
In Boston, we don't have a formal mentorship program. And I think that a formal program can be difficult and often forced, but it's definitely something that we highlight as a chapter and an organization, and we're constantly trying to pair seasoned members of the industry up with newer members of the industry. And
Seasoned, I liked it. That was very political.
yeah.
Good work.
No, it sounds very interesting, and I wish you lots of luck with
Thank
that.
you.
Because
And thanks for coming on and celebrating
Spread
Women in
the
Construction Week
word.
with us here at the Journal Radio.
Yeah, I think that we didn't really know much about it until today as well. So it's good to get that word out. And I think that
Absolutely.
the more events that are coming up, share them with us. We love people
will.
to know about that, and I hope some of the schools out there do take the opportunity to contact you to have
I hope
someone
so
from the
too.
career day, because I think it's fantastic to talk to some of these kids.
Absolutely, that would
It
be
gives them a
wonderful.
little direction.
Construction,
Yeah, we're just
bringing sexy
an
back.
opportunity to ask questions.
You can even talk to Eric. Maybe that will give him some direction which way he should go.
I'm all over the place. But, yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, teaching us a lot
Thank
about
you
NAWIC
for
at first
having
and the different kind of construction jobs that women and I know it is Women in Construction Week, but anybody getting into construction, you did enlighten a lot of us about that, so thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
And that was Kourtney Mierzejewski. No,
Ms.
I gotta screw it
Ms.
up.
M. I'm currently going
was
by
gonna say,
Courtney M. That's my
Kourtney
email.
Mierzejewski.
Pretty good.
Mierzejewski?
Mierzejewski.
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 Mierzejewski. There, you got it. Thank you, Kourtney. We appreciate it. And Kourtney
Thank
is the
you.
president of the National Association of Women in Construction,
Boston
Boston.
chapter.
of the
Chapter.
Boston chapter.
You keep giving her a raise, man. You
Boston
just
chapter.
keep giving her a raise.
Take away from
I should
Sandy
promote-
Field.
By the way,
think
thanks
she's
for the
great.
show. Here's your
I think
promotion.
she's great, so I want it.
Right?
So we have any last words, Eric? Anything that...
See everybody April 23rd. Hopefully everybody gets out to Habitat for Humanity in Worcester and joins Kourtney here and helps that out.
Awesome.
And
And you don't forget, you can watch us on YouTube,
always
on
follow
iTunes,
me on
listen
Twitter.
on iTunes, listen on NEREJ.com/radio, NYREJ/radio.com/radio.
And don't forget to follow us on Spreaker.
And Spreaker.com. And I think, Eric,
What's
this
that, Rick?
deal is done.